The final round of the Gorrick Spring Series is here, and Rich got an absolute flyer of a start as well. He has got to be, look, yet again, foot out, flat out. The man loves it. He's got to be the fastest 49-year-old off the line. I missed my pedal, absolute nightmare, but I wasn't too bothered. I was happy to just, as long as you get in the top three spots on this course, it's fine. And the field, there was only probably 6 of us. I've got Rocket on commentary as well with us. What you got to say, Rocket? Go full gas.
I like the new colourful kit in front.
Oh, they are, Rich. Lovely new kit. Anyway, on this day, I am not going to lie, my legs were not firing. And you know when people ask you before the race, how you feeling, how you feeling? I never know until I go off the start line, and I knew straight away that I was not pinging. But one thing that was good from this race, I was actually feeling like I was going pretty well through the single track. I was shredding. I got the Rocket to film me going down the descent at one point, and I felt like Nino Schurter for 10 seconds. But as usual, this course, if you watched the video a couple of weeks ago, it is super twisty. Every minute, every second you're going around a corner, and if you're not going around a corner, you're going up a punchy climb. So Rich is absolutely putting the pressure on right now, and to be honest, I felt relatively comfortable and in control for once, for the first time ever. But I think it's because the race before, I went off with Ben and Luke, and I felt like an absolute shell of a human in that race. So right now, I was feeling relatively cruisy. Not cruisy. What? You're alright, big boy? Not cruisy. Alright, I'm not cruisy, but I felt as in control as I'd ever been during a race. The problem was, where my legs were fatigued, excuses, I didn't have chance. I couldn't hit those like top end numbers, those real big spikes when people are like accelerating up climbs, and the sort of spikes you need to get away in a race, I could not hit. But Rich is super slippery around the corners, as you'll see, and what I want you to watch is how much he uses his dropper seat post. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It'll be like a corner what I don't even look, drop a seat post down. I've never seen someone use it so much. It's absolutely phenomenal. But then he is on a hardtail, so he might need the extra. Sometimes I'm a bit lazy, like going around corners like this, you know you're going to have to stay out the saddle that whole time. Your boy likes a nice comfortable seat. But how this race went, I'm going to tell you. There was, me and Rich went absolutely full numpty on lap 1. We then got bridged over by George on, it must have been just going into lap 2. It might have been towards the end of lap 1 he bridged over. So there was a solid group of 3 of us just absolutely going full gas. And to be honest, I got used and abused by an old boy and a young machine. That is how it went, wasn't it, Rocket?
49 isn't that old, George.
49 isn't that old? I suppose. I'm close to that. I'm
Yeah.
getting there. Alright, sorry, if you're watching this, Rich, you're a young stud, according to the Rocket. But yeah, he was tanking it right now, and you know when you're second, you sort of feel like you could go round, but you don't know how hard it is on the front, if that makes sense. I don't think there's a huge benefit of drafting round here, but this is when I knew I was descending well. When I felt like I was having to slow down on this descent. If you watched a few weeks ago, I was getting dispatched by Ben and Luke down the descents like that. Right then, I felt like I had to ease off the gas because I was gonna rear end him. So that is absolutely wicked. If you've been watching my training vlogs, you'll see that I've been going out racing a lot. I've been doing a lot of trail work, and it seems to be paying off, or I hope it is anyway. So I've jumped on, we're about 7 minutes in now, and this is where I decide to make my move and go to the front of the race, and it'll be the last you'll see of Rich and George. These 2 wheel suckers did not get back involved. I gave them a bit of chat, but just here the course splits, and I think the left-hand route was a little bit faster, so I came out ahead, and I just thought to myself, to be honest, I might as well just press on and see what happens. So I did give it a little nudge up here, like 400 or 500 watts, test the water, but I didn't have much more than that, to be honest, I'm not going to lie. But I remember coming out into this section here and just thinking, right, pin it through this single track and see if they're still there. And I'm not going to lie to you, I've done absolutely zero damage. I tried my best to get away, and I felt like for me in this race, the only chance I had to get away was on the descents. Every time we went up a climb, up one of the hills, I didn't have that power to get away, and they were just sat on my wheel getting an easy ride. So I fully whacked it down here. It doesn't look that fast because no one's in front of me, but trust me, it was full gas. And I said to the boys, I was saying to them on the way round, I should have put my rear facing camera on for this race because we did not see them at all. But you can see from the side footage, this was the three of us, and you can see I was putting a little bit of a gap into them down this descent. It wasn't anything big, but it was a couple of bike lengths, and I felt like it was my only chance to get away. But as soon as we'd hit the climb, but this was essentially the race, so I've switched to the Rockets footage. We will go back on the last lap when the action unfolds, and Georgie boy, not this George Turner, absolutely rips my legs. But you can see from the footage, it was the Giorgio Coppola Razzo train. I stayed on the front. People are going to say this was a terrible move, but my theory behind it was set a pace that was hard. Well, felt hard for me so that they couldn't attack me, because it was the attacks I knew I wouldn't be able to hack. So I just decided to get on the front, keep the pace as high as I could, and a maintainable pace so they couldn't come round and absolutely whack it. And I knew at some point, I was giving them a bit of chat, like, it's like the Tour de France, boys, I'm dragging you round. I was like, when are you going to attack me? At least give me a warning. But I spent 5 laps on the front, and I knew this point, we're on the final lap now, we're going up the climb, and I could hear the gears starting to change behind me, and I knew the attack was about to come. And boy oh boy did George absolutely go full send up here, and I did manage to go with it. You'll see just here he goes. He is a strong boy. That lad has got some power. I need to know what his FTP is, but look at that, he was putting it down, and I was like, you've got to just go with it now, make it hurt. I covered the attack, went with it. Up that climb, we did drop Rich. But coming down here, I was like, right, perfect. Time to recover, stay on his wheel. And I didn't realise how good he was at descending. I mean, I take my hat off to him. On a hardtail, no drop a seat post, getting around those corners. Respect to the man. And he put me under that much pressure that I made a mistake. There we go, foot out. Then I had to get clipped back in to go. But I didn't panic straight away. I thought to myself, don't panic, you can easily shut this gap down. So I carried on going, and I thought I'll close it down over the next few corners and then get a little bit of time to recover before we go absolutely full gas. And this is where it went all horribly wrong. Right in front of my lady as well. There she is filming me. What a time to deck it, Georgie boy. Coming round here. You can't park there. There we go, the Rockets chiming in now. But honestly, it was shocking. That's
embarrassing. That's not a crash. I don't even know what that is.
It was a slow motion crash. It was pathetic. The front wheel just washed out on that Lomi corner. And then I was thinking to myself, right, that could be race over. But one thing I always say, never give up, ladies and gentlemen. But I knew I had to get back past Rich, which wasn't easy because he was going pretty hard. But to close that, he wasn't closing the gap down, and George was getting away a little bit. So I knew as soon as I could, I needed to get past him and try and bridge back over to George. You can see he's still putting down the watts. Full gas. And it is just round here where I think Rich makes a mistake. You would have seen George on the left there. I think he runs wide into the shrubbery, and then we are elbow to elbow there. Give the little OAP a nudge, said let the young buck past, and then it was full gas. Sorry, I can't call him an OAP according to the Rocket, but now it was my chance. I absolutely went for it with everything I had to try and get back onto George's wheel, but he was on top form. I take my hat off to him. I couldn't shut it down, but you could see he was literally only just one corner away. Look, there he is. So when we go around this corner, there he is on the left, and he just kept attacking. Every climb he was attacking it, every descent he was attacking it. And towards the end, I did start to think, I might be closing this gap down a little bit, because I was thinking to myself, has he gone too early? I do not know. And you can see there, the gap's pretty big at this point. He's probably got 1, 2, maybe 10 seconds on me because of that crash. Look, one mistake at this level and it could be race over. It is so annoying. And then there was a little bit of trouble with back markers, but the problem is, this course is just so tight, you've got to just accept that's going to happen. And the same thing would have happened to George. He would have had to get past the riders. This guy literally couldn't have done anything to move out the way, but we like sort of had a little stop and then he moved over, which is an absolute legend for doing that. And then it was just back chasing. You can see him on the left there. It's only 10 seconds, but he wanted that win. Look, just here is where I thought, I'm going to shut it down now. I'm going to shut it down, but the course just wasn't long enough. And in the end, I just didn't have the legs to shut it down, and that mistake massively cost me the win. So hats off, George took first place, super strong ride, and then I come home in second. I hope you enjoyed the video. I gave it absolutely everything I had. I'm going to have to attack harder next time for these wheel suckers. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.